Next, let's discuss the basic operations related to files. First is creation. This is the beginning of a file lifecycle. When we create a file, the system allocates space on the storage medium. Write and read operations are also common in file operating. The write pointer indicates where in the file the system will begin to write data. This can occur at a specific location within the file. Similarly, the read operation occurs at the position of the read pointer. When we read data from a file, the system starts at the position indicated by the read pointer. Reposition within a file is known as the seek operation. Sometimes we need to move to a specific location within a file, and that is what seek is used for. Through the seek operation, we can move the read-write pointer to any position in the file, which is very useful for directly accessing specific parts of the file. When a file is no longer needed, we can perform a delete operation to free up the occupied space. Truncating is another operation that can reduce the length of the file, splitting it from a specific location, deleting the content at the end of the file, while keeping the content at the beginning. A concatenate operation can join two files together with the order based on the user's specification to arrange the position of the files. These operations are ones we commonly use when handling files, and the file system is meant to support this operation to facilitate our file handling. There are two main structures for maintaining a file. On the process side, we have the open file table. Each process has an open file table that tracks the files it has opened. This table contains metadata that is necessary for file operations, such as the location of the file, the current position of the read-write pointer, and possibly access write and file mode. That is why we need to open a file first when we want to execute it. We need to create that necessary information and store it in the open file table, ensuring that the operating system grants the process access to the file and prepares it for subsequent operations. On the OS side, there is a system-wide table, sometimes known as the global file table. The OS maintains this table, which contains information about all the files that have been opened across all processes. This information typically includes reference count. For instance, how many processes have the file open, as well as file state and attributes such as logs, file size, and internal data structures for file location on the disk. It maintains a count and state that is referenced by all processes. Each process interacts with this table through its own open file table. Open file table is a per process table that tracks all files opened by a specific process. It maintains and keeps track of the current position within each opened file for the next read or write operation. It also stores access rights and accounting information for the file in the context of that process. System-wide table contains entries that each entry in the per process open file table point to. It includes process-independent information, such as a disk location of the file, access date, and the size of the file. Moreover, it also maintains an open count, which is the number of times a file is opened. In the diagram, there are two process control blocks, PCB1 and PCB2, each with a corresponding open file table. PCB1's table has entries for files 1.txt, 2.txt, and 5.txt, while PC2's table has entries for 1.txt, 3.txt, and 4.txt. The system-wide table includes 5 files, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.txt. The lines connecting the open file tables to the system-wide table indicate which actual file the entries correspond to, demonstrating that multiple processes can have the same file open at the same time. For example, 1.txt is opened by both PCB1 and PCB2. The design ensures that the file system can keep track of which process is using which files and what operations are being performed on them, which is critical for resource management, security, and ensuring the integrity of data in a multitasking operating system.